All right, what's up everyone, the French Monkey here, and welcome to another commentary, backstage commentary on my latest work that I uploaded today. So this is the second project for 2021, and I wanted to give a couple of tips on how I was able to create this artwork. So yeah, of course, this project is available to download on my Patreon for free. And I have here some infos on how I was able to do this, but I will get into that as well here to show you pretty much some stuff. And yeah, so be sure to become a Patreon if you want to support me and support these free project files and assets, of course, because there's a lot of assets here that you can reuse as you want. So yeah, first of all, I wanted to give a shout out to Eugene Morozova. She made a piece that I found kind of randomly on Google while I was trying to search for reference images, and I came across this work here that I really liked. And as you can see, I wanted to recreate kind of the same bottle shape and the liquid inside. And I also added some cloth here that I did in Marvelous Designer. And yeah, so of course, I really wanted to create these lasses, but I had a hard time with the spline, so I just, did a cheap Taurus here to kind of have the tag there. So yeah, anyway, I would have a link to her Instagram account, and yeah, so I did the bottle design in Fusion 360, even though it's very simple to do in Cinema4D as well. And I wanted to show you two ways you can go about doing something like that. So yeah, I'm gonna just close this up. And the first way to do this, something that you can do in Cinema4D as well, is to get some spline, select your plane, and create the outer layer of this. So I'm gonna go, roughly, just to show you how to do that. So I'm just gonna create this right here. I'm gonna close this spline, and from this you can simply select the resolve option, and you can do a 360 resolve, and you will have something like that. And of course, you will have to make another spline here to be able to just, delete the top part. As you can see, this is the first way of doing it. Of course, I used linear spline, so you will have to use a Bezier spline to be able to have those curves. And I'm going to show you the way I actually did this inside of Fusion 360. So I just created a sphere. So I'm going to select a plane. I'm going to do my sphere. Okay, and I'm going to create a circle. So I'm going to go on the top view, and I'm going to close my sphere to be able to select the profile here, and I'm going to reopen it. And now I'm going to join the torus here with the sphere. And as you can see, now we have something like that. And now what I have to do is to create the sphere, the shape of the bottle. So I'm going to select here my profile. I'm going to move it right here. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing as I did in the first method. So I'm going to use the resolve. I'm going to select my profile and the axis. And you have something like that. So I did some fillet here and also right here. And next, to be able to make this a bottle, you will need to create a shell. So I'm going to select the object, and I'm going to do an inside extrusion, I guess. Okay. And now I'm going to make another circle right here to make the opening. And that's pretty much how I was able to make the bottle. I then exported my OBJ inside of Marvelous Designer, and I just did something, very easy. So it's just a couple of profile here that I connected together and run the simulation. And one thing I wanted to mention inside of Marvelous is that you have inside of the library a collection of different cloth properties. I was able to just select the one that I wanted and apply that to my different garments. And I changed a couple of stuff like the thickness of the cloth. And yeah, that's pretty much it. After that, I imported everything back again into Cinema4D, and I started working on my composition. So I'm going to close the couple of stuff here that we don't need, and I'm going to show you the bottle. And we have the cork, and the cork was pretty easy to do. So the thing that I did was to just create a cylinder, and I guess I could actually show you how to do that. So I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to bring my cylinder right there. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and I'm going to enable my shading lines. I'm going to add some caps and more segments. I then added a deformer. So I added a taper deformer. I'm going to make this a child of my cylinder, fit to parent. And I did something like that to extrude it a little bit. And then I just made everything editable. So connect object. And I went into the Cinema4D Sculpt tool. So this is something that I've not used a lot in the past, but it's very easy to do. So I'm going to create a couple of subdivision to get started, and I'm going to close my shading. And what I did was to take the knife tool, and I just started doing some carving here on my cork. And you can change the pressure, the size. Of course, now you will need to subdivide it one more time to be able to have those details. So yeah, very easy to do, and it's all inside of Cinema4D. So yeah, I love the Sculpt tool, and I wish I was using it a little bit more. So there you go. Apart from the cork, what I want to show you was the liquid, which is pretty straightforward. So I'm going to close the cloth so I can show you how I did this. So you will have all of that in the file as well. But a very nice solution here was to add a Boolean tool. I added a sphere and a cube on top of that. As you can see now, we only have a portion of the sphere that's showing. And I added a displacer with a noise shader on the cube to be able to have those kind of waves right there. So yeah, that's how I did the liquid. And apart from that, I really wanted to, add kind of a landscape to this bottle. So I added a lot of crystals here, which I'm going to show you right now. So the crystal patches are all from my crystal asset kit. As you can see here in my product, you have a couple of different patches you can use. So in this case, I use the patches, and you have a big collection of different crystals patches that you can just drag and drop inside of your scene and to kind of create this landscape. I added some samples here that you can use in your own projects as well. And the last step was to add some vegetation. So for vegetation, I've been using some of the assets that I made a couple of years ago. And these are very low resolution, but they are very small in size, and I added a bunch of them. And as you can see here, I played a lot with the depth of field because I really didn't want it to show, to focus on this grass right here, because the resolution was so low that I didn't like it. So I just played around with the depth of field to be able to, you know, get that out of the way. And we had this nice bokeh here. And the last step was to work on the lighting as well. So my lighting setup is kind of a mess. You know, we have a couple of lights here and there, and I wanted to add some little spots to be able to lit the tag and the cloth here. I played a little time around the different settings and sizes and trying to bring them around my scene to be able to see where it was affecting. That's pretty much it for this project commentary. Let me know what you think, and let me know, of course, if you want me to get into more specific stuff in the next project coming up. And yeah, thanks a lot for supporting me on Patreon. And if you end up using these project files, be sure to tag me on Instagram so I can see what you are doing with them. You know, I always love people using my stuff. So yeah, don't be shy. And be sure to check out my products. So the Crystal Acid Kit. And these are the grayscale kits that I used here. As you can see here, we have some smudges. I use some grunges on the floor, on the plane. And I used also here on the cork to add some imperfection as well. And one last thing that I forgot to mention was I actually used a couple of textures from the library of Octane. So it's under material and open live DB. And I used here a wood material for the cork and also for the tag right there. So it's very useful. So definitely check this out. And that's it for today. I will see you tomorrow with another backstage commentary on the next project. Cheers everyone, and keep on rendering.